All right, let's talk about Russell Wilson, over 400 yards passing against admittedly a very bad Bengals defense, but we'll talk about some of the stuff that I thought the Steelers did a really good job of in this game. Yes, there was some bad defense, but you know what does a good offense do? It takes advantage of bad defense, and that's what the Steelers were able to do. I want to start off with kind of the one negative we're going to talk about in this video, and even I'm not going to call it a negative, to be honest. So this is the play. It's a 3rd down and 3. You have Pickens running just a quick route on 3rd and 3. Sure, let's trust our guy to win this matchup. Wilson takes a snap, and he's turning and throwing, right? He's immediately into throwing motion. The issue is you see Pickens is getting taken down right here. I mean, that's really no other way to describe it. Cam Taylor-Britt actually kind of grabbed a hold of Pickens' helmet and is tossing him to the ground. Wilson throws it to Taylor-Britt, who makes the catch and gets a pick 6 out of it. I would say that it's not quite as bad on replay as it looks live. It still, to me, is clearly a penalty, though. I don't know how it wasn't called. It certainly wasn't Wilson's fault, right? I mean, your guy falls down. What are you going to do? This could, ends up being 7 points for the Bengals, and it's a pick on Russell Wilson's record. But as a whole, this was a fine play by him. But let's now get into positives. Okay, that was the end of the negative section of this video. Like I said, wasn't going to be long. Here, I mean, this is just a simple play. This is a George Pickens play. They're going to have him just run a quick wide receiver screen, right, on 2nd and 2. Hey, let's pick up the 1st down. Why not? But watch those two Cincinnati players. Those are the two guys who could potentially run over and make a tackle on Pickens. An offensive lineman's supposed to block one of them, but he's not going to get over in time. So these two players will both have a chance. When this play begins, though, you see Pickens. He's going to do a good job, I would say, of kind of, not giving away exactly where he's going just yet. You look at this, and the block is kind of going a little bit towards the sidelines, so these Cincinnati players are expecting Pickens to maybe go more towards the middle of the field, which is a lot of times how you want to run this play, but you don't have to run this play that way. You can go outside the numbers if you want to, and Pickens reads the play, sees where the Bengals players are, and then as you see, he just explodes past them, and he's going to be able to get into the end zone for a touchdown. So that's just a really good play. To me, this is kind of exactly what I want to talk about in this video of this is a mistake by Cincinnati. There's no getting around it. The player closer towards the sideline should have gone further towards the sideline, made sure that you don't give up a touchdown there, 100%. But you have to give credit to Pickens for reading that there was a mistake and taking advantage. And in fact, I think this play is probably the best example of what I'm talking about. So this is the Russell Wilson play. You have, zone coverage. It's a cover 2 zone. Usually the way this play works is you see how there's a deeper route and then one that's kind of cutting right over the middle. Usually that over the middle route is the one that gets open. Usually the deeper route just pushes the safety further deep. However, when this play begins, the safety is kind of trying to be a little aggressive here. Hey, let me, he's the guy who I've circled in white. He's thinking, let me jump in front of this over the middle route. I can get a pick here. We need to start making some big plays because we can't stop them 3 times in a row. Maybe we can get a big play. The issue is because he stepped in, Wilson is a veteran quarterback. He reads this and says, okay, let's push it deep then. Now, a Cincinnati player is in that yellow circle. He reads this play and is trying to get deep. But as you see, I mean, that's a really good throw by Wilson, and that's not his assignment. That's not his fault. Everyone's going to blame him for getting burned, but that wasn't his fault. The safety should have been back there. You have to trust your teammates can help you out over the middle. I kind of get why they don't, though, but to me, that is bad defense, and it's great offense to notice it. A play like this as well, where it's going to be a zone coverage concept. It's actually Cordero Patterson who's running this route. Yes, Cordero Patterson is on the Steelers, and he's running routes here for them. Watch how when this play begins, you see Wilson's going to take the snap, and he actually, moves up in the pocket a little bit because that's where there is room. There's room in front, but he's also keeping his eyes downfield. You see Patterson is a little bit open, and because Wilson is moving in, it's just bringing those linebackers a little bit further in as well. So then when he makes the throw, it ends up getting wide open. So again, little things like that turn, instead of having maybe a tight window throw, turn it into a big window. So you look at that play and say, oh wow, Cincinnati let a guy get wide open, but that little move by Wilson to bring the linebackers in also helped with this. A play like this is a Pat Freiermuth play where what's going to happen is it's a 2nd and 5 situation. The concept is simple. Zone coverage, we have Pat Freiermuth trying to get into a gap in coverage more underneath, but realistically, if Cincinnati takes care of that, which they very well might, then you have a receiver going further deep. He's the guy you want to look towards. Well, when this play begins, you see Freiermuth stops, and he sees that, okay, kind of he's done his job. The Cincinnati players did step in. You could throw it further deep, but Cincinnati's kind of playing that well as well. There really isn't a lot of great stuff going on here, but this is where Freiermuth is just going to play smart football. He reads this and says, well, wait a second. I mean, I've already done my job. This isn't really open, but I have a little bit of a window if I just run, 7 yards further downfield. So that's what he does. He just runs further downfield. That wasn't his assignment here. He just read the play and did that. Russell Wilson now, again, he has to read what happened, and he's under pressure. However, as you see, that's exactly what he does, and they're able to get a touchdown on that play. I mean, that's a great play by Freiermuth. It's a great play by Russell Wilson, and it's kind of what they were just doing in this game of, yes, again, you want to call it bad defense, fine, but that's great offense, isn't it? This play was bad defense. We can talk about a bad defensive play here. Like I said, there was some bad defense. I know that I think that one of the issues is when you play a team like the Bengals, it feels like no matter what you do, people are not going to give you credit because you look at the team and say, well, they've been giving up points to everybody. It is worth mentioning, 44 points is a lot of points, and yes, 7 of those were defensively, but this was the most points the Bengals have given up this season, 44. So, it's still saying something, and if you take out the defensive touchdown, it's still the second most points they've given up this year. So it still says something. That being said, okay, this play, it's Van Jefferson. It's an all-out blitz. Again, the Bengals, they're doing whatever they can at this point. They're down 10 points because their offense is good, so they're still putting up points, but they're down 10 points with 6.5 minutes left. They need a stop. It's Van Jefferson that Wilson is going to look towards, which on a bit of a side note, I do have to mention that, you have to give Pittsburgh credit for how many different guys stepped up and made plays. I mean, they had 9 different players end the game with over 20 receiving yards. That's pretty crazy. I mean, Russell Wilson had over 400 yards, and yet the leading receiver was Pickens with just 74 yards. I mean, that's how much they spread it around. Here is Van Jefferson's one catch of the game. You see when Wilson takes the snap, I mean, it's just a corner, again, being aggressive, playing this one wrong, to be honest. He thinks there's going to be more of a route going over the middle. It is not. Wilson instead runs, throws it deep. I mean, good route by Jefferson, good play by Wilson. That's bad defense for sure, but it just goes to show how many different players were able to win for these Steelers. So, yeah, it's a big win. And, listen, we can sit here and talk about the Bengals defense all we want, but the reality is this was a game that the Steelers just weren't able to win the past few years. They didn't have a 44-38 in them. I don't care how bad of a defense they were playing. Now they have that way to win. And when you get to the playoffs, you have to be able to win in different ways. They got a tough stretch coming up. They play Cleveland next week, who is, a team that beat them earlier. They need to get their revenge now. Then they play the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. No guarantees there. And then even the Bengals, who knows? But, getting this win is huge. They're almost certainly in a playoff spot, trying for the division here. So, should be interesting. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.